I'm Kate Davies, and you're listening to Chris Gordon on Ramblings of a Hellblazer.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, listeners, wherever you are in the world right now. This is Ramblings of a Hellblazer, and I, as always, am your host, Chris Gordon. Thank you very much for your support, and thank you very much for tuning in today. Today I bring to you an actress from an upcoming web series called Robin Hood. Now, this is a Robin Hood's tale with a twist. Few twists, I would say. The main one being is that this actress who I am going to be talking to tonight, Kate Davies, is Robin Hood. And Maid Marian, played by Rowena Diamond, is also married to Sir Guy Gisborne. So yes, a very big twist. There'll be no romance between Robin and Maid Marian, so be interesting to see how this one pans out. So anyway, enough of that. I shall allow Kate to explain some more. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to bring to you Kate Davies. Okay, so everybody, today I have Kate Davies, who is playing Robin Hood in the forthcoming web series Robin Hood. Good evening, Kate. How are you?
Good evening, Chris. I'm very well, thank you.
Good, it's good to finally talk to you.
Thank you, likewise.
As I say, we've just been discussing, we know what you look and sound like anyway from your multiple videos that you've been posting all over Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, I do tend to overly abuse the freedom that Twitter gives to post videos and so on, and I'm definitely going to be trying out this GIF feature that you mentioned a moment ago as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So watch that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. No, it's good. I mean, that's why I started this, is because when Twitter you can put 140 characters into something writing, and I talk an awful lot, and it was just like, you know what, I can't put everything I want to say into 140 characters. It's just impossible. So the video feature you use is perfect.
It's brilliant, but you have to kind of get used to just saying everything in a really condensed space of time, so sort of speak at double the speed of normal. It's quite a good challenge, but quite good fun as well.
It was, yeah. Well, that video I posted back to you guys, I did a longer reply to that, and then I realised it was only cutting it down to 15 seconds. I was like, oh no! Oh dear. So yeah, don't worry, I won't do Yoda for you.
Hey, it was a brilliant yo-yo. Very impressed. I thought you'd use the dubsmash feature at first, and then I realised that it didn't say it in the corner of the screen. I was like, he's actually done an impersonation. That's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I should be. Yeah, it's one of my little my part. Oh, I can't do it now. You have to get the special frog. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yes, definitely. My son, bless him, he sits there and he's like, he goes, "How can you do that?" And it's like, believe me, I'm 40. It's taken me since I was about 10 to learn how to do that. But once you have worked, it does. Kind of. I've got an echo. It doesn't sound good.
Brilliant.
Okay, cool. Anyway, enough about that. So we've come here today to ask you a lot of questions about Robin Hood and your career before and after, hopefully. Well, obviously. Yeah. Oh dear. Okay, so what inspired you to become an actress to begin with?
To begin with, well, going back in time, I guess, originally I actually wanted to be a cartoonist and a video game character designer. That was what I spent most of my energy and time sort of investing in at college and everything. Mm-hmm. And going back to when I was about 18, I attended an open audition for a student production of West Side Story. I didn't think a lot of it. I just turned up and did a bit of singing and dancing and so on. And I got the role of Anita, which was a really cool part to play, an amazing character, quite pivotal to the show. And it's very cliche, I suppose, but I kind of bit the acting bug. I just absolutely fell head over heels for acting that day. And it was at the exact moment really in my life where I was going to see careers advisors and things to find out what I could do with my artwork. Mm-hmm. I didn't do so well at getting into art university, so some of them suggested that I just pursue performing for a little bit longer. Also, it kind of helped me with my self-esteem. Growing up, I wasn't overly confident talking to people face to face and things, and I just found that something kind of switched a little bit during that time in my life when I was performing, and I thought I'd chuck a couple more years into studying, and I've never really looked back. I got very upset when I finished at college sort of 4 or 5 years later, thinking that I was never going to get the opportunity to perform again. Yeah. But yeah, I couldn't have been more wrong. I've never let it go, and touch wood, haven't left too many gaps between acting roles, and it's become not just a job, but it's a huge part of my life. And through acting, it's taken me on many different journeys and adventures, and I've met some awesome people. And I kind of I say love now. Honestly, if you'd asked me 20 minutes ago, I probably would have changed the word, but I sort of love how unpredictable the career is. know what's going to happen next, really. So
Okay, excellent. No, that's a great one. So I did drama in school. I really wish I'd carried it on now because I'm seriously regretting it, which is why I'm trying to get myself back into somehow and
it's
start it
never
up
too
again.
late. It's absolutely never too late. I think as well, the longer you leave it, the more time you have to think about it. I think if it's still calling out to you, then why not go and give it a whirl?
Oh yeah, no, I was going to bring up a musical question with you anyway, but I was going to say
Sure.
it's whenever that'll be a bit later, but it's always the same. Whenever I'm going to see music, I love them, and I did them in school and absolutely thoroughly enjoyed them, and obviously did pantomime dame at uni, tried to carry it on. The funniest thing in my life, I tell you, that was. It's like I won't go. I'll probably get done by now if I'd say some of the lines, the innuendo. It was the funniest thing ever, but. Yeah, and so whenever I go and see musical now, that's the whole magic of theatre. I think I just sit there and I'll just like immerse myself, and it's like right, that's who I am on the stage now,
Yeah.
and that's the whole beauty of theatre and acting. So speaking to you guys who actually live and breathe it every day, it's fun. It's really good to hear.
Oh.
So you are actually anyway an accomplished actress on stage and screen.
Right.
From both. So which do you prefer? Or can you say that? It's a hard question that everyone
That's
doesn't
a
really
lovely
answer.
question, because it does cross our mind. I mean, professionally, it's always good to make sure that you don't necessarily bracket yourself into one or the other, because obviously you want to work, so you want to be available to take on any job that's thrown at you.
Yeah.
And I'm not against at all accepting any theatre work, but I do think that there was a period of time where I had to put more focus on screen acting in particular, because I'd done a good, let's say, 8 years or so of mainly theatre work. It's a very different type of style of acting entirely.
Yeah.
When I started to make my transition to doing more screen work back in, I think it was around 2012, I had to relearn to act in a completely different way, and I've tried to make it as natural as possible. And it's the polar opposite of working on stage, really. Whereas on stage you want to beam your energy out to hundreds of people, on screen you want to make it that it's entirely intimate between you and the other actor you're working with. So to answer the question, which one do I prefer at the moment? Screen, because screen, not just the style of acting, but just the experience of being on a film set, and how every film that I've worked on can differ so much in terms of scale and talent, and the amount of crew, the people that I've met, and again the experiences that has come from that. The opportunity to work abroad, the opportunity to put myself in quite precarious situations, but exciting ones as well. It's been really cool. But there are times, I think I noticed the other night, I've been to see Thriller Live, the musical.
Oh, cool.
And it's the first time I've been to see anything on stage in quite some time. And it struck me that I haven't done any stage work in a good 4 years or so. And that made me quite sad.
Yeah.
Because I felt all of a sudden like that wasn't my job anymore, because I've left it so long. And so there is part of me that's thinking maybe at some point this year or the next I'm going to maybe push a little bit harder to get back into theatre again. So I love them both equally, but I see them almost like two different jobs.
Yeah. Cool. That seems to be a running theme as well, because they are so different in the way that you have to act, basically the style that you put in. Like you say, you've got an audience, or you've got the intimacy of a camera and people around you. So that's cool. So do you like Shakespeare then? I mean, you've been in two Shakespearean things that I know of Twelfth Night and Macbeth.
Well, I do. Of course, I appreciate Shakespeare. It's an amazing thing. It's something, we have. It's fundamental that actors study Shakespeare really during their college years. Certainly, I do enjoy. But I have to admit, I don't actively go out and watch a lot of Shakespeare. I like the influence that Shakespeare's brought on nearly everything you'll ever watch. Really, more so. But the shows that I've done in particular were very strange takes on. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but they were trying too hard to make these particular shows very different to what people are going to expect. So, for example, when we did Twelfth Night, they made Twelfth Night the musical and just shoved a load of songs in there. And it wasn't my favourite theatre experience, let's just say. And similar with Macbeth. We shot it, I think they set it in New Caledonia. We had sort of temples going on, but I played one of the witches, and instead of selling potions, we were selling like drugs to people. So I don't know, it's just a slightly weird way of doing it. So I don't have that kind of raw experience of Shakespeare that most actors will probably be able to relate to. I think if I if I were to chuck myself into Shakespeare now, I'd love to play a part in Much Ado About Nothing, because growing up, I really enjoyed the film adaptation, which had so many celebrities in it.
Yeah.
And that's a show that I enjoy, really, and that's what I do. So.
Cool. When you said about Macbeth being different, I thought you were going to mean that was a musical too. You couldn't really think. If 'twere done when 'tis done, sung in a really jolly style. Okay, so musicals as well then. Obviously, I know you've had a bit of musicals in your past as well. What's it like being in a musical for yourself? It's different again, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely different again. Again, big energy. I enjoy musicals, but I guess the reason why I don't pursue musicals so much now is because I've literally fallen in love with acting. And I when I was studying, I was all about trying everything. I like dancing, I like singing, I loved acting. But now I've kind of separated myself and thought, well, do you know what? I'm not the best singer, I'm not the best dancer. And although I can sort of say that was a fun experience, I'd rather focus mainly on the acting. But the shows that I did do, I mean, as I say, West Side Story was the first, and it will always hold like a dear place in my heart. Every time I hear the songs from it, I get very nostalgic, and I absolutely love it. But I did for some time work as a support worker at a performing arts college in the department where they teach musical theatre.
Okay.
And there were some songs that I heard to death. Which are enough to put me off musicals for quite some time. Yeah, I mean, great music. The students were working on things like Hairspray and Wicked. And the first couple of hundred times I heard some of those songs, I thought they were pretty good. But now it's grates a little bit. But again, never say never. I don't turn down any work, you know. I'll look at anything. If someone approaches me with a musical that I feel that I'd be good in, I'd certainly go for it. But I think I would be more drawn to performing a character rather than mastering perfect dance routines and things like that, really.
All right, cool. Sounds great. Yeah, so I love musicals, but you're right. Again, it's also you have the singing is a huge element of musicals.
Yeah.
There's some very dodgy car audios of me as well at some point where I'll just sit and belt myself out to Les Miserables. They've never ever seen the light of day. Cool. Yeah. With web series as well, because that's a new thing. Because you're obviously in Horizon. You've got 2 seasons of Horizon. What's that one about?
Well, we've only shot season 1 so far. We're working on season 2 this year. Horizon is a 10-part web series based and shot in Bristol, my hometown. And it's about an alien invasion in Bristol, but it's more about what it does to humanity in the wake of a mysterious ship appearing in very iconic Bristol skyline with a suspension bridge and so on. And it's more about how people cope and how relationships form and change. And, you know, for example, people looting stores and fighting with each other. Yeah, and it's about the lives of, I need to remember how many characters there were. I can't remember, there were 5 or 6 of us primarily who it sort of focused on. And each episode would focus more so on certain pairs of characters because they were quite keen on exploring the drama and the relationships. Really small bite-sized episodes between sort of 4.5 minutes in length to 10 minutes long. So they wanted to make a show that people really could just watch on their mobile phone whilst on the way to work or what have you. The writers were quite influenced by shows like Lost and The Walking Dead. What they wanted was to have every episode pretty much end on a cliffhanger, which is quite hard to do in a sort of 4 or 5 minute time. But I think they did a brilliant job in writing it. And so now we had quite a nice sort of following for the first season, and I think it's given the writers lots to think about for season 2, which is just going to sort of hopefully answer quite a few questions that may have been raised by the end of the first series. So it's been brilliant fun, and actually what I do love about web series in particular is anyone can make them. You're not it's not as daunting a task as trying to nail a lead role in a TV series, obviously. And what a lot of people struggle with in the independent world, the independent film world, is when they've made something, it's whether or not people will ever get to see that thing, you know, depending on distribution and so on. But with a web series, you can stick it on your website, you can stick it on YouTube, and it's there for anyone to watch. So if your prime focus is making something for an audience, then you're pretty much going to achieve that, which is what I really enjoy about it.
Cool, fantastic. So do you think that's kind of like the future of like broadcasting with TV? Because obviously with web shows, I mean, you've got a lot of like Netflix and stuff, that kind of thing, which it seems to be gearing towards sort of streaming and internet sort of based stuff.
I believe so, yeah. I mean, certainly the last year or so has seen the rise of online TV. And as you mentioned, Netflix, I think it's much more likely that people tune in and select what they want to watch on that than necessarily tuning into mainstream television at the moment. And also, again, with the independent world, there's so many sort of amazing creatives out there making things completely unique. They're not just rehashing things that have been done to death, Hollywood things. And it's a really good way for making independent stuff a bit more mainstream. And I hope it is. I hope it does continue to do well, and I hope it escalates. And I know, or I don't say I know. I think BBC Three is taking that route now.
It is, yeah. They're going off. I don't know when they're doing it, but they're going offline, aren't they? Off the TV networks and going just purely on internet as well.
Yeah, well, we had in Bristol, a friend of mine worked on a show called 13, which I think is one of their launch series for the new BBC online channel. So
right, okay.
We'll see how that one goes down. But it was shot totally high production value, the same as a TV show as well.
Yeah.
I guess they're launching the channel to show that it's quality-wise, it's still going to be as good as what you'd see on the television. So
excellent. Well, it is a good way. I mean, you mentioned there about the rehashing Hollywood, and it's it does allow it does allow for that huge, expansive innovation and talent to be shown, like because. Yeah, my personal view, this is my personal view, I'll say that quite clearly, is that there just seems to be a lot of rehashing old things for the big cinema. I just mentioned Ghostbusters, it's probably going to be an awesome film, but it just, hashing stuff, why not use some of the original talent that's out there? There's a lot of screenwriters out there I've got friends with, and they're just, actors like yourselves, and there's so much talent out there, and they're just not being picked up because all they want to do is just rechurn the same thing because they think it works. And it's sad to see that there's a lot of talent not being seen in that way. So having web series and having the internet, I think, is a great way to highlight and promote all that.
I completely agree with you, Chris, because I mean, case in point really is Point Break. I mean, it pains me that that's been remade. Because it's such an amazing film, and they can't ever recreate those actors that were there. Patrick Swayze was amazing, and I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't judge, but it feels like they will do whatever it takes to make it slightly different enough to justify making it different, but not necessarily improving the storyline. I mean, they've changed the whole idea of what the ex-president characters actually get up to in it, and that's what made it cool. And I think they may have even taken up most of the surfing aspect, which was that's
kind of what's the whole point called Point Break, then, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just being original. Like, they're trying to be original for the sake of being original, whereas they're not being original because they're rinsing an old idea. So I just
I mean, I can't remember which one it was. I think I heard recently they're remaking a Robin Williams film.
Oh, really?
And I was just like...
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Was it Mrs. Doubtfire? Because I was just like, how can you remake Robin Williams? He was so unique. You just...
Precisely.
I mean, that was a tragic loss, but he was just... How can you just... That was just perfect. I don't think there's anyone out there who could actually even come close in a remake of that.
Yeah. No.
Sorry. I'm rambling now.
Right. Wait, honestly... You could start me off on it when I could keep going all night, but it's a shame. I wish people would allow for a little bit more originality as well. And I've also got one of my closest friends is a screenwriter, and his scripts are incredible. And it's so hard for screenwriters to necessarily get their work seen. So it's a bit of a shame.
Well, I think a lot less. I think with, especially with, there's a big reality TV phase, which is sort of, I know you can see looking, which I don't watch any of them because I just think what's the point? As I say, I'd prefer to watch guys like you and everyone else out there with actual talent. Did I just say that? Well, it's true, with actual talent to actually be on the screen or on the theatre and actually enthrall me rather than just sit there and churn the same stuff over and over again. But MTV, I think, have changed that because the Shannara Chronicles, they've tried to buy that in as well, which is like a Lord of the Rings type thing.
Oh, right.
And I've had the pleasure of speaking to those guys as well. And they're trying to rein in from reality TV shows now and bring it back to having a network show that's something to be sold. So I think that's over. I think that era is finally coming to an end. And it's like, thank God.
Well, it can be quite upsetting for a lot of actors because primarily we're always told that if you're not successful at getting a role that you want or getting called in for a casting, it's because people don't know your name or they don't recognise your face in your work. So some people use reality TV as an opportunity to just be a known face. It doesn't matter what they're known for necessarily. It could be for running around naked on Big Brother, you know.
Yeah.
If people remember that name and face from that moment, the chances are they'll be bumped straight to the front of the line when it comes to TV casting or what have you. It's the scourge of the acting world.
It is, yeah. And you go onto Twitter and they'll have 300,000-400,000 followers, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
What have you done? It does it great to me, so I can just imagine how much it actually grates people like yourselves in the profession.
Yeah.
Cool. So moving on then. You've just gone dark.
No, sorry, my Mac. I'm using my Mac to light my face. Mac is in Apple Mac, not Makeup Mac. I think I bored it to sleep. Let's try and. There we go.
Cool. Okay, so I've got some questions from some fans here. Obviously, we'd like to talk about Robin Hood, which is what we're here as well to talk about. I will be talking about everything else. We haven't actually mentioned Robin Hood yet, which is the new series that you were coming up in with the web TV with Anthony as the director, and you are the twist. Well, one of the many twists, I do believe. I'm not, obviously, some of them are going to be secret and spoilers, but you are Robin Hood.
I am. Yeah.
So, give me a bit about Robin Hood then. Go on.
Well, I mean, I was sort of drawn to the role. I didn't have to take much thought really. As soon as it was mentioned to me, I was like, "Yep, I want that." I think I've asked so many questions, but I've been a fan of Robin Hood since I was a child, in all the different adaptations, but primarily the Disney one. Actually, I love the Fox. I thought he was very charismatic. Mm-hmm. I just like the idea of I like multi-layered characters, so I like someone who's good with a bit of bad and bad with a bit of good.
Yeah.
Robin definitely ticks those boxes really. And what I actually particularly enjoy, I haven't double-checked how much I'm allowed to say about this series at the moment, but what I will say, because it's a sweeping statement that kind of covers a lot of roles that I enjoy, is that actually it doesn't necessarily draw any attention to her gender at all, other than the fact that they don't realise she's female on the very beginning of the first episode of the season.
All right, cool.
Because she has a hood on. And so what I'm trying to say is they don't write her, oh, she's female, so therefore this happens, or therefore this happens. She just happens to be female.
Yeah.
Rises a few of them at the start. So she's strong and hopefully develops most of the characteristics that people would expect from Robin Hood. But I'm looking forward to just having a bit of a free reign with the character, really. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly well written. That was a massive draw to me taking the role as well. It's pretty dark and gritty and violent, all the things that people tend to enjoy these days. If you're a fan of shows like Game of Thrones, Da Vinci's Demons, Spartacus, all those kind of things, they're not afraid to chuck some quite shocking moments at you. And I read quite a few of those in my initial scripts. So yeah, it's the kind of character I enjoy playing. A tough female, let's say, or a tough character who's put in situations where their strength comes from protective drive or the need to do right in the world. And I can't wait.
Awesome, excellent. You kind of answered quite a few questions, but we'll go over them again. Right, okay. No, that's really good to hear. It's going to be an exciting one to see as well because it's a new twist on it. It's a new take on it, like you say. And I've seen some pictures of you dressed as Lara Croft and around there, so you do picture that role, and you can picture yourself. I can picture you watching. As Robin Hood, it's and you're in training as well, aren't you? You're doing archery and stuff for it.
I'm doing what I can, yeah. I bought a practice archery set. I was shopping back just before Christmas, and I'd signed up to archery classes anyway. It's been something I wanted to do for quite some time, and I was going through this particular sports store, and I saw people practicing on archery. I was like, what is this? I found it was an indoor archery set. So I bought it for myself, my own Christmas present. And I pretty much do it all the time. But the fact is, as soon as I got in the shop, I took a practice shot and scored a 10 immediately. I was like, hey, this is my calling in life.
Yeah.
We'll see. I might have to get a stunt archery person in when we do the show.
Danger to everyone else.
Yeah, I want to do a scene like on the cartoon where Robin fires an arrow up to the sky and then fires another one on top of that arrow.
Oh, and it tips it down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want to be able to do. So we'll see.
It's a good target to have. It's a good target to have. So Corey Marvin is asking, what was it like to play Robin Hood?
Yeah, so I haven't played Robin yet. Corey, thank you for asking the questions if you're listening. I haven't played the role yet, but I have played many similar characters before and learned a lot through playing those characters that I hope I can bring into the role. As I say, I like playing strong characters, protective characters with a hint of vulnerability. So I'm hoping that I can bring that through. But what I'm really excited about playing Robin as well is working with the other cast and crew. They just seem so lovely. And we're having our first proper cast meeting this coming weekend. We're having a weekend together. We're going to do a bit of martial arts training, a bit of archery, cool. Probably a couple of drinks and a bite where needs must. But I'm looking forward to working with them collaboratively because they've all worked on some really cool stuff. They all seem really nice. And I think they're perfectly cast for the roles that I've read so far in the scripts. And so, yeah, I can't say what it's like to play the part, but I'm almost certain it's going to be an enjoyable experience.
Fantastic. Corey's other question was, did you have fun on set? But obviously you've not filmed, so I'm going to change that in the fact that I think you're going to have an absolute blast on set because, I mean, I've been interacting with you guys for, a week, 2 weeks, and you are the most fun-filled bunch of people. I'm saying it was absolutely hilarious. I mean, all of you are just brilliant. I'm glad I've actually been in touch and I'm sort of chatting with you guys.
Enjoyed having you interacting with us as well. And actually, we really appreciated it because when you first start a Twitter account, and obviously we've got the crowdfunder as well, you kind of want to get people interested in it without shoving it in their face. Yeah. So by introducing sort of fun little games and tasks and generally creating a bit of an internet buzz is really beneficial for everyone, and it's been a lot of fun as well. And also it's helped us get to know you and to get to know each other as well, because we're having a lot of we're playing, at the end of the day that's what acting is. It's professional playing. So
yeah, I've got to say the dub smash battle had me crying with laughter.
I can't believe I only experienced my first dub smash the other day. I was new.
I had deleted the app because I've not used it for ages, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. And then obviously they were coming on and saying, we want to hear Chris. I was like, oh god, download quick. Yeah, that was a good laugh. Yeah. So Lexi is asking what first attract. I mean, this is again, we've covered this again. What kind of first attracted you to the role of Robin Hood? I mean.
Yeah, well, Lexi's a friend of mine, another very talented, lovely actress. And thanks, Lexi, if you're listening, for the question. I'm sure Lexi can relate, actually, because we're very similar in terms of our taste of character. Yeah. We're just both of an ilk. In fact, many actresses, I will say, who are not necessarily artistically satisfied with always just playing the woman, the other half, the bit part on the side, the wife, the mother. There's nothing wrong with those roles if they have more layers to them.
Yeah.
But the characters that we want to play are the characters that inspired us to be actors in the first place. People with with a history, with stories, with revenge missions, with weight behind them, and that's what inspired me. And in fact, you mentioned the Lara Croft thing before. So to anyone who's not seen any of my Twittery stuff, I'm a big fan of the video game character Lara Croft. I have been since I was about, let's say, 13. But what I love about the latest installment or adaptation of Lara is in Rise of the Tomb Raider is she looks like a female Robin Hood. She looks like a female kind of assassin.
She does, doesn't she? Yeah, she's really good character.
Yeah, so that is what I saw in my mind when I was approached about the role, and I know for a fact had Lexi seen that, she'd have felt exactly the same, because she's also perfectly cast in these kind of roles, just that kind of slightly mysterious, hiding under the hood, but there's a good person under there somewhere, and can't wait.
Awesome. I'm going to throw a spin on that as well, in the fact that I think, would you see yourself as being a good role model? Because I mean, that's what you've just touched on as well, is something that has been missing, and that is that kind of strong female lead, because all the action films and all the action series is very male orientated. However, I mean, the most shining example I think recently, which is worldwide phenomena, is Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
And Daisy Ridley as Rey. The appeal that she's had worldwide, and because and Hasbro, making the figures and then not putting them included in the figures and stuff, because they thought, well, girls don't, girl toys don't sell, and she's become a huge role model. So I presume playing a female Robin Hood, look what you're going to do.
Well, I hope so. And I had one of the guys who tweeted our page on day one. It was amazing. One of the best tweets I had was a picture of his little girl with a Robin Hood hat on, saying she's really excited about in the role. Now, it might be a bit grown up for her to watch particularly, but the fact that a young girl had seeing that there was a female Robin
Yeah.
Hood excited her, made me feel really happy.
Cool.
It's the kind of thing that I would have enjoyed when I was younger. But yeah, I mean, your example of Rey is perfect. As soon as you started to say it, I knew you were going to mention her because, in fact, dare I say this, I haven't always been a fan of Star Wars. I haven't.
No.
This is where we cut the interview and
cut the feed.
mysteriously disappear. But her character and Finn as well. They were the reasons I enjoyed the film. I just thought they were brilliant, and it was just so nice to see a strong female cast in it. She played it brilliantly as well. She had an amazing sense of again, it's that fine line between vulnerability and strength, and I think her age helped as well. She was wonderful, and she went through an amazing character arc throughout the film, and those are the roles that make us tick, and it is amazing to get a chance to play them as well.
Definitely. I mean, that vulnerability as well, like, I think it was Jakku, that first battle scene, but then Finn took her hand, she was, well, yeah, stop taking my hand. I had crying with laughter. It was just perfect. It really was. So it's great to see that sort of, you guys as women, taking that role and being able to have that chance to become and do the things that you've probably not been able to do due to the way society has been for the past God knows how many years.
Yeah, I think some of my sort of entry experiences to working in indie film in particular, I did a lot of horror. So as you can imagine, I've played my fair share of victim roles, and they're not very fulfilling. It's you don't get loads out of it. As I say, if you're playing a strong character put in a vulnerable situation, and you get to do that, then the strength, then great. But just to be a victim is no fun for anyone, really. You don't get a lot out of it.
No, blood fodder.
Yeah.
Cool. So Lexi's also asking, what's the best and worst scenes you've ever had to play?
Oh wow. The best scene, I really enjoyed a scene that I worked on in Horizon. Because we'd done a lot of big crowd scenes on one of the days leading up to we shot for 10 days straight, and we'd done a lot of group scenes over the course of time, but there was one day where I just got to work with one of my co-stars just on a one-to-one. And I won't say anything about the episode in case someone's now intrigued and they want to watch it, but it's really nice to find an actor who was really he was worried that he didn't have tons of experience, but he was incredibly natural. And I just found that working alongside him brought the best out of me as an actor as well. We were really just listening to each other, and the energy was low, but in a good way. It was just the two of us in a warehouse, and it was quite a poignant scene, and it was very good character arc for my character, because prior to that, people really wouldn't have liked her much at all.
Yeah.
So having that scene to kind of make her change was really, really good. But in terms of experiences as an actor, one of my favourite shooting experiences was actually working on a film called The Mine, which was a short horror film, because I had to overcome phobias and fears that I wouldn't normally face.
Yeah.
Because, I'm scared of heights, for example, and I had to abseil 120 foot underground through a tiny little hole in the floor in the forest.
Yeah, no chance.
In the pitch black. Well, obviously we had an amazing team of people looking after us, but I was still terrified. I mean, I remember them giving us the safety briefing and signing our lives away, and just thinking, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But we went down, we shot this horror film. We also had to do some potholing. It was terrifying, but the sense of achievement I got from that experience is one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life, let alone just through filming. Because I know that had I just been me, I would not have done that. But for some reason, because I was playing a character, and in particular a character who was supposed to be the best of the potholers and climbers out of all, I just had to get on and do it. And it was, I felt it was great.
Awesome, cool. I mean, I'll have to watch that one. I watched The Descent, I can't watch that because heights I can't watch, and obviously small spaces. I'm not exactly the most smallest of people anyway, but trying to get into a small space, no.
Descent's one of my favourite horror films ever. So to be in a short film that was influenced by it was really cool. But yeah.
Excellent. I mean, we've got loads of mines near us, and my son wants to go in them, and I'm like, I can't take you. All the slate mines, cool. This is another one from Lexi. She answered quite a few. So, what are your goals for 2016?
The goals for 2016. Well, I suppose it's always going to be the same every year. I just like to be as busy as possible.
Hmm.
I like to be in control of my professional decisions in terms of who I want to work with in some degree, the roles that I play. But mainly, I guess the biggest goal I have and will continue to have until I achieve it will be to get a role on television in something ongoing. Because again with Horizon, one thing I really enjoyed was being in a series, and
Yeah.
hopefully it will happen with Robin as well. Is playing the same character for quite a long period of time, and being that one character but in loads of different situations,
Hmm.
which you don't get to do necessarily in a film so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, a role on television would be the goal, but I'll accept all the different adventures I get up to in the pursuit of that goal as well.
Nice, nice. And where would you see yourself in 5 years' time? That's the last one from Lexi.
Hopefully I will be so deep into the television industry at that point that I'll be wanting a holiday to get away from all that crazy manic work, and
Your
constantly,
beachfront villa in Malibu.
I'll just be so tired of being invited back on Game of Thrones time and time again that I'll need a break. It's always going to be the same. I mean, I will want something professionally, and if and when I achieve it, I will want to find a way of raising the bar again in whatever way, more work or just to work with different people.
Awesome, excellent, cool. Okay, I've got some questions from Amber as well now. She's a friend of mine. She's very keen on hearing about a female Robin Hood.
Cool.
We've touched on this question before as well, but we'll expand again. What Robin Hood adaptation was your favourite?
Yeah, so I will have to go with the Disney one. Again, it was his charm and charisma. He's beautifully spoken, and obviously because being a child, that was my first experience.
Yeah.
That was the Robin Hood I kind of fixated on. But I love Kevin Costner as well. I love Prince of Thieves. It's brilliant. That was my first cinema experience actually.
Right.
So so Robin in general has a dear place in my heart.
Yeah.
But both of those really. I mean, just that scene with Kevin Costner where with the burning arrow towards the screen.
Yeah, you just made me feel so old saying that was your first cinema experience. Thank you.
I might have been 25 at the time.
All true, yeah. I grew up on Michael Praed, Robin of Sherwood in the 80s. That was what I grew. I would say from mine, that was what I grew up on. So that's all I can. Whenever I think of Robin Hood, all I can think of is Michael Praed.
Is that your favourite?
I don't know, to be honest, because it was mystical. However, with the 1980s, it was limited with the 1980s technique that you could actually use. So there was a heavy focus on all the acting and the mysticism around it, and it was great with her and the Hunter, and I absolutely adored it with all of that. And Fryer there's the comedy aspect in there as well with him, and it really was good. I don't know if he would be my favourite or not. I do like Kevin Costner one as well, for all the inaccuracies about it.
Of course, yeah.
It was an enjoyable version and an enjoyable movie of it, and he's the one who really got to you, because obviously Kevin Costner is such a esteemed actor that he is. He kind of really draws you in as well. But no, I would say I think Michael Praed and the original Robin of Sherwood probably would tip it still, because that's what I grew up on, and that's what from the very onset. So.
Well, we've noticed that Film 4 is going Robin Hood crazy this week. It's almost like they knew about us, and it's been. I'm probably sharing that I have far too much time on my hands at the moment, but I've noticed that there's been a lot of Robin Hood on during the day this week, and I think there's a couple more lined up as well. So I'm just watching what I can to try and just to get ideas of the character and the similarities and things. But I would like to put my own spin on it as well, of course.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, it'd be nice to sort of see what's out there and make sure that you can be unique for that.
Yeah.
Cool. And Amber's last question is: she knows you probably can't say too much, but what's the relationship and the interactions between Robin and Guy going to be like?
Oh, okay. I don't know if I can say too much about that, actually. All I can say is Guy's a really interesting character, and I think people are gonna really enjoy. So. Yeah, I can't say too much more at the moment. I should have got the blooming okay before I that, really.
No, I mean that's obvious. So it's not out yet. So it's we don't want to spoil it for everyone. So
yeah,
cool. That's actually the end, sadly, of all the questions.
Oh.
I've got a few today. Is there anything that you'd like to say? I mean, that you haven't already said in
Well, I'd like to thank you, Chris, for taking the time to ask me questions, and I'd like to say thank you to everyone who submitted questions as well. But just a massive thank you so far to everybody who's had a look at the page. They followed the page. People who've retweeted, shared, obviously donating to our campaign, taking a look at the campaign. It really, really means a lot. I mean, there's so many amazing projects in development out there. We appreciate that, but we wouldn't push for this one if we didn't believe that we have something really, really awesome to share with you guys, and we just want to do a good job of it, and we want to give you the show that you want to watch. So we're just insanely grateful with everything everyone's done so far, and we hope that you guys continue to be as involved as you have been, and that's it really. And just again, thank you for taking the time to ask me some questions.
Oh no, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and I can't wait to watch Robin Hood as well, because it's going to be able to see that on there and think, I know those guys. And see, because it's just a huge concept, which is a fantastic concept. So I think it's going to be a brilliant thing, and everyone will keep retweeting them. We'll get the word out and push and push.
Yeah.
So brilliant. Thank you very much, Kate. That's the end of this podcast. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
So once again, thank you very much to Kate for your time and for answering the questions that were sent in. That was a lot of fun. And I hope you guys out there have also enjoyed listening to Kate talking about Robin Hood and her other works. So once again, this has been Ramblings of a Hellblazer with your host, Chris Gordon. And as for now, adios.